All right, Talon, Jarry. It's great to have you here. How are you, buddy?
Here, I'm good. It's been a long time. It's been about freaking 13 episodes, but I'm here.
We took a, almost 3-week hiatus.
Yeah.
Said I was coming back. I was like, oh yeah, I got all this free time. We're gonna be hitting it hard, and then
work happens and schedules just
44 hours a week, and a girlfriend doesn't allow you to record.
That's very true.
Yeah, I should just quit my job. No. This is my new job.
Bring back the Serb.
Honestly, they extended it to $12,000.
You know what though? You know what's funny? I mean, people took that money and then they got taxed on it, and it's so funny watching people be
Not
lazy
yet.
fucks.
Oh, I'm getting ready. They're gonna rip me a new asshole because I still collected even after my first check. Like I just made like $700, so I made under $1,000.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'll declare that, and they still sent me $1,000.
Really?
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, no.
Should I do it again?
Honestly,
one more week?
People, they just gave out money, and they just literally just gave it out for free, and it was so funny. And then people were like, "Oh, I don't even have to work," and then it's like, surprise, bitch.
Well, then you have Alberta that was like, "Oh no, we'll pay people $2,000 to get off Serb," and it's like, what?
That's worse than Serb.
I know.
Oh my god, people just, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's better than like the States where they don't have enough money, but I don't know.
I don't have many questions for you.
That's all right.
We're just here for a conversation,
Yeah,
but I do have a
course.
question. I think everybody wants to know. I want to know. When are you getting a car, Talon?
When am I? Okay, so
Man's been saying this since October last year.
This is literally the most frustrating thing because, especially with school, I wasn't sure if I was gonna need one because I'm trying to like not buy one till I have to kind of type shit, and so like if I get one, it's going to be probably like this fall because, if school's online all year, I could hypothetically wait till like next spring.
This guy.
Well, okay, because like I want a car, but like you gotta like prioritize, you know what I mean?
You could have bought fucking Mr. Rodriguez's 300.
Yeah, but then I was going to have to pay a lot of money in gas, and I was just like, you know what?
I don't want that. Rico bought a 300 now.
Rico
Ricardo.
Oh, Ricardo.
Yeah, he bought it for like $1,400, and then he's cruising up to the mall.
I just never know, man. I sit and I look at cars. I do like quote unquote research.
Yeah, it looks nice. Is it safe, dude?
And that's so I'm always trying to look, and then I don't know. At this point, I'm trying to find something decent that's not going to kill me on insurance because, fun fact, Canada's insurance is fucking stupid.
Yeah, we're like 209th for like what's that?
The
data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? The thing is the stupid thing is like I get it. Guys mod cars, guys drive fast. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that
We
statement.
know who these guys are.
Yeah, but the thing
You mean
is...
it's not manual? Yo, I fuck my gear shift.
Well, here's the thing, though, and it's just, like, I get it. I get where it's coming from, but, like, I have seen a lot of people drive in my 19 years on this earth, and not all of the stupid drivers are male.
Okay,
So, like,
listen, Talon. I've seen you drive.
My driving is fine.
Hey, there was a witness. He watches this podcast, and he's gonna say something about your driving. He knows.
I don't believe it. Anyways, aside from that, I mean, insurance rates are just crazy. So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I'm going to try and put it off and save as much money as I can. Because, got shit to pay for. I'm a university man's, as I've been so often called.
University man's, academic king. We see you. I mean, this is what the podcast is for. We're here to educate all of our young kings, queens.
Yeah.
Or whatever term makes you feel comfortable.
You go to university, you got a lot of shit to pay for. So, yeah, we're trying to figure it out.
And here I am, still broke and not going to university.
They give you help. It's not.
I mean, not with our current government, but we won't talk about them. There's a pandemic. What are your thoughts, Talon? Tell me how you feel about the pandemic, the masks.
Okay, I'm going to just lay it out here real quick. Now, masks are great, so wear your mask. But, like, if you're going to put on a mask, come into an enclosed space.
With a large amount of people.
With a large volume of people, then take off or pull down said mask to speak. It defeats the purpose of wearing a mask.
Or the chin guards, people like just stops at like their top lip.
I've seen people wear masks in the weirdest ways, and it's like
I've seen kids eating them. Like,
it does not make sense to me. Like, the whole point is to stop your droplets, and if you're pulling it down to spread droplets...
What kind of droplets, Talon?
You've just defeated the purpose of wearing a mask. So, for all the people that think that it's a hoax, or that if I wear my mask half on, half off, it'll protect people, you're wrong.
What about, what do you have to say to the people that say, well, I don't have to wear a mask if everybody else is?
I don't have, like, people have got me to a point where I am speechless. I have been left speechless. The news cycle and the lack of common sense in on this continent has got me speechless.
On this planet, sir.
It's I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I mean...
Who cares? We're just a bunch of snow Mexicans, and we'll probably end up building a wall anyways.
We'll just build a giant igloo we all live in.
A snow wall. It's unreal what's going on. Like, I want to hear your thoughts on who everybody wants to hear it on, Mr. Donald Trump.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, at this point, I don't even know what to say, and the more you see, the more angry you get. And it's gotten to the point where I'm almost just, like, this, like, I mean, he's at the point now where he knows he's screwed, and he just wants to, like, delay the election and shit. And it's like, you know what? Listen.
What, mail-in voting?
You had your... Okay, no, this is the best part about mail-in voting, right? So, he goes on Twitter and he berates mail-in voting. He's like, oh, you know, mail-in voting, potential voter fraud, whatever. But the man, literally, like a few hours later, don't quote me because I don't know for sure, but at some point, really close to that, he's, like, all for absentee ballots. And so Huffington Post is not the best source. It is quite biased.
Yeah.
They had the best headline I have ever seen on a news story. They said, Trump hates or whatever, dislikes the mail-in voting, yet promotes absentee ballots, which are mailed in. It was the best headline. But that's literally, like, it's gotten to that point. Like, he's so contradictory, and it's almost like... There are no words because it doesn't make sense.
See, I think my stance on Trump is I used to enjoy it and I used to just piss people off. I'd be like, "Oh, tell me something you don't like about him." His Twitter's. I follow him on Twitter.
His Twitter is funny. He's a piece of shit, but his Twitter is hilarious.
I think, but the one thing we're all forgetting is this guy literally has nuclear launch codes. We have a deranged, like, 70-plus-year-old man that has the potential to wipe out entire, like, continents.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, the thing is that he's gonna keep trying to cause distractions and sow chaos because it's just what he does. I mean, at this point, you just gotta hope that come November, there's somebody different. I mean, it's looking like Joe Biden. I mean, I don't think any Republicans are gonna run. But I mean, it's not even about the Republican. That's the problem. Is that there's so much, like, party division, and it's just I've had this conversation with so many people, and party politics is just it's got to go.
Yeah. Are you inciting revolution here on the podcast today, sir?
No, I'm not. No, not revolution. But you know, it's one of those things where it's like I've had this conversation with so many people, and it's like if you can just take the candidate that you like and the issues that you care about. Because essentially, what you're voting for yourself. You might think about other people, but like generally speaking, you're voting for the candidate that's going to best improve your life. So to then not have a say, like the only way you get a say, like especially in Canada, in who the conservative nominee, the representative is if you're belong like a carrying card member of that party. So they're going to make you be part of a party just to decide that party, and then come election time, you don't even get to necessarily like vote on who. You're just voting on the party and who they decide they want in.
Well, we're kind of in a situation where it's like you could, like, I think, like, everybody can take something from the parties, obviously. Like, obviously, we're going to have, like, some Republican views are like, okay, like,
in
money
principle, it makes
conservative.
sense
Like,
to align with the people that most think like you. I get it from a fund, like, a principle standpoint.
But the problem is too many people are unique and, like, we're all not going to agree on the same thing. There's no way you can create a policy that everybody be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's just it. And I don't know, it leads to this kind of weird, like, tribalism, especially like you see in the States. It's the, like, red and blue. And it doesn't even have to be that way. Like, even, like, Trump, like, when I think he's beyond saving now. But for the people that genuinely, maybe they thought he wasn't the greatest person, but he was a businessman, he was an economy man.
I mean, that's how it was at the start. And now it's just gone.
Well, that's just it.
Downhill.
And so it's like, even in that Trump example, okay, maybe you think he's a good businessman, whatever. But you're voting for the Republican. It doesn't matter. Like you aren't even allowed to take in his whole stance on everything because you like bits of him. And then because you hate the left, you hate the blue, if you're Republican, then you vote for him. And we've seen that with all of the Republican lawmakers. Basically all of them, with the exception of my boy Mitt Romney, because he's still out here fighting the good fight.
All right.
But most Republican lawmakers, they've just gone along with it. It's just like, well, nothing we can do now. Like Lindsey Graham. I love watching the Lindsey Graham clips from like back when he was like shit-talking Trump to now. It's like, what happened to you? Like, what drug did he force feed you? Because
we've talked about Trump, we've talked about Biden, but we haven't mentioned our independent candidate, Mr. Kanye West.
What is there to say?
I mean, the paperwork hasn't been filed. I think people are blowing it out of proportion.
I think Kanye. I mean, it really does a disservice because I think he needs like help. And I think that hopefully he's getting it.
I've been hearing conspiracies because people said every time before he has one of these mental breakdowns, he always releases something.
Well, that's what they were saying. They were saying it was publicity for his new album.
Yeah, but at the same time, if we do that, then we're just going to be like, we're discrediting mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not discrediting what he's going through, or maybe he genuinely does want to run for president, but the thing is...
Well, originally he said 2024, and so I've heard people say that he's just, he's kind of on it, and like he's not actually going to do it,
the waters type
but
thing.
He's going to be coming out strong in 2024. His vaccination stance is a little scary.
Yeah, I think with Kanye West, it's not even like he's just so, because he struggles with but it's not even that his mental illness necessarily is, obviously it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody deals with stuff like that. But when you are the president and you can't have volatile decision making in a position
you have nuclear launch codes.
Well, that's just it. And I mean, right, he may be on this thing where he wants to be president, but come 2 years maybe he might change his mind. Nothing wrong with that. But you can't have that kind of volatility, I guess, for lack of a better word. And yeah, his vaccination thing, some of his comments, I don't know what he's doing, so I can't really speak on what he's doing, but I mean,
we're just up here minding our own business.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think, I mean, even this election, he wouldn't be able to win even if he tried, because he can't even qualify. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of states where he's already missed the point.
Yeah, and they're swing states.
And they're swing states. So the odds of them picking Kanye West over whether it be Donald Trump... You don't think
people in middle America want Kanye West as their president?
Oh, the farmers in Nebraska? Oh, Kanye West is running?
Bucktooth Timmy that fucking jams out to Kanye's new album? You don't think so? What else we got to talk about, Talon? What are your stance on drugs?
On drugs?
Yeah, tell us how you feel about them, Talon.
So I know I've been for a long time I've totally pro legalization.
For heroin?
No. Let me specify the drugs before
crack cocaine.
Everybody
in
the comments starts losing their minds. No.
So I Horatio?
think so I think my stance, the way I see it now, is that psychedelics should be legal. They should be decriminalized and legalized.
I agree. I'm out here getting higher than Demi Lovato most nights, so it's all good.
As far as the harder drugs, opiates, things like that, I think it needs to be decriminalized. And to some people, it becomes it's a huge, what do you mean?
Well, we have all the police chiefs of Canada right now said personal drug use should not be illegal.
It shouldn't.
We're locking up people with addictions when we should be helping them.
Well, that's just it. The way I see it is the drug crisis in Canada, or whether you want to talk opioid crisis in America, it comes down to a public health issue.
Yeah. And
that's what it's always been. But this whole, war on drugs from the 80s to now.
Well, we started to cover up illegal bombings in the Pacific, but it's
the thing is it's just hypocritical, right? Because we have this war on drugs has been going on since the 80s.
Sure.
In Canada and the States. It started in the States with Reagan and everything, but it's bled into Canada, and to a degree we treat it like that as well. And the problem is, first of all, it's hypocritical because
Oh, you mean the people that get shit-faced 5 nights a week and then say, what do you mean you smoke weed?
Well, that and...
Were you trying to kill yourself?
The government, I mean, there's all those... You know the conspiracy theories, the Iran-Contra stuff with the whole selling drugs in South America.
You know.
Whether it's true or not, I mean, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, if you're gonna treat drugs like it's a war on crime and a war on drugs, I mean, you're not going to get anywhere because you're just going to incarcerate the people. Like... If you take someone who has an addiction and you then throw them in jail, well, now they can't get a job. So now they feel like they have less to live for. And now they're going to, even if they got clean, they're just going to turn back to the drugs because once they get out of jail for their drug sentence, they can't get a job or it's very unlikely to get a job.
Well, my question, where does the line stop for you? So, like, obviously, I think we agree, decriminalization of... I would say all drugs. We've seen it done in other countries.
Portugal's one example.
Spain's done it.
Smaller
Italy
populations,
too now.
But it is possible.
Yeah, but where does it stop? Because there's also people that support like safe injection sites. How do you feel about those? Because I understand both viewpoints. One, we're providing like obviously you can get it safer. You're not going to get hurt. We're not spreading AIDS, HIV, things like that. But then you also have the argument that's like, well, then you're just promoting it and keeping people... But they're handing out leaflets, but leaflets don't do shit. Israel drops fucking leaflets over the West Bank before they bomb the shit out of them.
I think if it's kept as, like... I think if you keep in mind the fact that it is a public health crisis, that's the thing that it comes down to. If you're going to create safe injection sites, people... like the purpose of a safe injection site is to keep... needles and things off of the streets where it could potentially harm innocent people.
Yeah.
And for the people who say, oh, we shouldn't be, sanctioning drug use at a state level.
What do you mean? People that live in Fort area that the only drug use you see is Jarvis Street?
I think the thing to remember with safe injection sites is that the idea behind a safe injection site is to eventually allow people to get off of it. If we use safe injection sites in tandem with an aggressive public health strategy where we're actively like educating on drug use and we're providing the help that people need to get off whatever drugs they're on, then I think it works more effectively because you have, people who can then safely inject and they can kind of less and less and kind of wean themselves off of whatever drug they're using. Obviously, if you just put safe injection sites and don't bother trying to solve the rest of the societal problems, it just facilitates drug use. But if you use that in conjunction with other public health measures, I think you can actually get somewhere. And you've seen it, like you said, Portugal and Spain. Granted, they were very small, much smaller populations, but you see, I mean, they had a spike in crime early on in the plan. But as the years went by, the crime rate just fell dramatically because people aren't having to turn to the streets. Their drugs, many of the drugs are legal and they can do them freely. And there's not that fear of being, apprehended by and sentenced to a large, long jail sentence just for possession of drugs. It is a contentious issue, and again,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm interested. I feel like. I know, like, you gotta be open to all the arguments and stuff, but, like, I just wouldn't be able to agree with the other side on this one.
On the side for which?
I'm pro-drug, obviously.
Yeah,
I think anybody that knows me is well aware of this. Getting, let's not talk about how many drugs I do. But, anywho, I can share a drug experience. You can share one, too. Let people feel at home. Worst one I ever had was a psychedelic experience, we'll say. And I got a phone call. We're not going to say how long ago this happened. It could have been 2 nights ago. For a potential job offer while I'm blasted. Like, screens are melting. There's voices in my head. And then I just paralyzed for an hour. Scared that I lost this job. Now I'm just like... Who fucking cares? Honestly,
the worst
I feel like too many people our age are too concerned about like what's gonna happen. When I'm out here working at Polo, I talk to this guy that no one likes. No offense, I don't think he'll watch this. He's like 50. His name's Alex. Super nice dude. Not a lot of people like him, but he's such a chill dude. and he motivated me the other day. He said, "Hey man," basically like he's a soft Jamaican accent. I'm not gonna do it, but anywho, he's like, "Hey man, do what you need to do. Don't go to school if you don't feel it. Just live life." And here I am. We got the podcast, our first technically our first in studio guest. My girlfriend called once, but it's all good. It's okay to be second place, Talon.
Hey, that's all right. My name's up on the board.
Episode 14, Talon Jarry.
Episode 14.
Any thoughts you want to throw out? Anything you want to get off your mind, sir?
No, I mean, drugs are quite the experience. I know.
You have any bad experiences?
Not too many. Most of mine have been good. I mean, there was the one time I'll preface it. He does not give good information, and so I am unaware. So I'm hanging out.
What are you saying? I didn't prepare you for your edible experience?
It starts off as a grand time. It is great. And then I'm like, oh, it hasn't kicked in yet. Let's just take the rest of it.
Oh, was this the brownie one?
This was the brownie.
Oh, when you had half and then fucking ate the whole thing.
And so I take half, and we're having a good time, and I'm hanging out, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I didn't really feel it. So I take the other half. This has a whole brownie now, probably like that big. And I'm like, oh, I'll be okay. And all of a sudden this man here hits me up on Snapchat, and hey, I said, how long do these normally take to kick in? And he says 2 hours. It's only been like 45 minutes, so now I've just eaten an entire brownie, and it still takes like an hour to kick in. I don't know how to describe it. I lost all bodily function, and like my hearing was like on the out, and I was just.
I mean, like I haven't I've been doing it a lot. I'm complete stoner at this point in my life. I'm just working, and then when I'm not working, I'm getting high. Like this is the life I live. I'm making videos, living life. Who cares?
That's what your 20s are meant for, I feel like. To a large extent. I mean, traveling, exploring in your 40s.
You know what? Maybe just the rest of the run.
We'll smarten up around 45 before it's too late.
Jeez, what am all those teachers that said, Mike, we feel like you have a lot of potential. I feel like one day they're going to find these podcasts and be like, I don't know how to feel about this. Smitty finds this podcast. All the English teachers can show it to their kids as an example. I got my fucking diploma right here.
Graduated boy.
Graduation.
Big high school diploma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As I forgot to say, everybody, congratulations, class of 2020. Hope you all enjoyed your Zoom calls.
That must have been the worst graduate. I mean, I didn't really like graduation, so I wish I would have been able to skip it. But that's got to be awful. Like, even thinking about like all the kids who with scholarships next year, all the kids going into grade 12, it's like that's gonna suck for you guys.
I mean, we got out at the right time.
Oh, prime time.
You ever realize Doctor Strange saw 14 million futures and he didn't warn us about Corona?
How dare you, Marvel?
Yeah. Well, they taught us to wear masks, but maybe they were preparing us this whole time.
My hope is that one day we get a real life Tony Stark in the name of Elon Musk, who just develops Iron Man suits, and we can all just ride some Fallout 4 type shit. We all have power suits. We're just hanging out.
The problem we can't have nice things as people is because I don't know. I think we idealize and prop people up too high. I'm a basketball fan, and you have the LeBron people that are he kills anybody, and it's he got slapped by the Raptors the other night. It's anything though. It's just I feel too many fan bases are toxic right now, especially on the internet where you're not checked. As soon as you can go online and be like, hey, fuck you, kill yourself.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize what that can do to somebody. I have people tell me to kill myself all the time. I'm not oh my God. But I can understand how that can affect someone so intensely. If you're not brought up properly, I feel my generation, Talon. Sorry, 2000 and what you mean and sir? No, but I would say we got in at the right time. We got segued into technology. Now everybody else, I see kids with phones, tablets, and all that shit, and I'm just I used to just play with toys.
That's a fair point.
I had an imagination.
I think people are so quick to ruin things for everyone else And there's this lack of, like, you would think it wouldn't be this way because, like, with globalization and technology and, like, everyone's connected, you would think that we'd have more of, like, an appreciation, at least like an understanding of, like, other people. But it is hilarious how many people, like, you know, whether it's like internet comments or, you know, people they're so willing to trash somebody else and, like, put bullshit into the air just to, like, see what lands.
Yeah, I think.
And it's just, it's toxic.
Edgy
and that's the only
teenagers.
word. It's toxic is the only word for it, and it's gotten to the point now where it's just, I mean, there's no real stopping it because, I mean, it's the internet, and I mean, to then try and, like,
well, think about it this way though, like, if we're not gonna have kids going back to school, let's say 2021, there's no kids in school in this perfect world, because if you send them back, you're fucking stupid. I was talking about this the other day with a former teacher of mine, but they actually are planning to do it. And did you hear what Catholic School Board of Toronto did?
No.
They had a Zoom call, and they're like, yeah, we should reinstate classes. Teachers don't need to wear masks or anything. Students will just be spaced out. And they're like, but from now on, let's continue our meetings over these Zoom calls. So, yeah, let's throw a bunch of kids in a classroom.
Sending kids to school doesn't make any, like, sense. I don't understand. Like, I get the wanting kids to have in person, like, a proper, like, educational environment. But, like, no matter what age it is, it's not a good idea. I mean, little kids aren't going to be able to keep masks on. They're not going to be able to maintain hand washing. They're kids.
You're going to...
Right. There's no stopping
your kid's going to trade fucking his Spider-Man mask with someone's Paw Patrol mask. Like...
Exactly. And then even high schoolers, like, I'm looking at, like, all, like, even, like, the way our high schools here are doing things.
The amount of crack kids that went to our high school.
You know what? It's not gonna, like, somebody's gonna break the rules.
They want to reopen Canada's Wonderland. They're like, you should be washing your hands every 20 minutes. Half you fucks don't wash your hands after you go to the washroom.
There's no reason why schools should be open. I don't understand it. I mean, like, I get it from a sense of you want kids to be back in school, but there's no reason why you can't. Like, if I can do university online, high schoolers can do their work online. Maybe little kids, if you're able, or, like, kind of elementary kids, if you're able to.
Well, you can do Montessori style, like, school education at home.
Maybe, but I'm sorry, high school kids, I mean, you're borderline university at that point, and you're able to do things on. I think for most kids, you're able to do things online. Like, it sucks that you're not, you know, because everybody learns different. Some kids would learn better in person, definitely. Obviously. But given the fact that you're putting people at risk, entire families at risk if you send kids to school, it should be done online. And if they have to, I think maybe some kind of, if they have to do it in person, limited for, like, certain classes, maybe like science where they need the labs or, like, specific things like that. But most classes you can do online. And I think even though it sucks for a lot of kids maybe who aren't able to learn as efficiently.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be something that they're going to have to watch out for, because I think it's a bad idea. But
I don't know how much space is left on my phone. We're approaching, let's say, the end of this episode.
Sure.
Before we go, I got one question. It's related to all of this.
Okay.
Do you think that we're going to see more kids developing, let's say, social anxieties and things like that? Say high school kids, university kids aren't going to school for, like, another year. Maybe, we don't know, 2 years. Or do you think we're going to see people being more anxious and, like, less sociable because now you've been home for so long and you just think, like, things don't operate like a comment section in real life. You don't get unchecked when you walk around saying shit like that.
I've seen it thrown out there. I don't know. I mean, like, there is the internet and social media and things where we can keep connected. There, obviously, with, like, the lack of, seeing people. I think as we open up more, you're getting to hang out with people in a limited capacity. I don't know if there would be widespread. I think it, like, very much depends on the person. I'm honestly not too sure. I suppose it is possible. I don't think we would see it, like, widespread, because you are still able to hang out with people to a limited degree. And I think that, especially with being able to communicate over social media and video games and whatever, Skype and Zoom, I think people are still staying connected. And especially with, like, their family, spending more time with their family. That's kind of, like, a nice thing that maybe would help you get through it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, I'm not too sure.
I don't know, Talon. I might have to cancel you for some of your answers, buddy. So where can the people find you if they want to look you up. You want to, shout out your Twitter, your Instagram, something. I can link it down below too.
If you want to link it down below, you can. I don't really use Twitter. Honestly, I'm on social media.
I know you don't. You're not liking my tweets. It's all right.
I honestly don't use my Twitter. I'm on social media, but I'm not on social media. I don't really post much, so yeah. If you want to link it down below, you can.
All right. I'll just throw it out. You can follow him at is it T Jarry on Instagram?
No, I think it's just Talon Jarry.
Talon Jarry at Instagram. .com, and he's on Twitter, but he doesn't really tweet. Pass me that, Talon, that little Pedro. Honor of our first episode, we're gonna do a giveaway. Whoever does the best comment, you can have this. I'll send it to you. We'll do that. As always, Talon, it's a pleasure, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hope you stay safe.